Finestkind. Not Finestkind. Finestkind is on Paramount Plus with audio description. It is written and directed by Brian Helgeland. So I feel like that's not being said enough. Again, I'll say it. It is written and directed by Brian Helgeland. This is the guy who wrote LA Confidential. He went on to direct films like A Knight's Tale. This is not somebody who is just getting their director wings. This is somebody that when I found out they were directing, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make a point to actually watch this movie. So I haven't told you the cast yet. It stars Ben Foster, uh, Tommy Lee Jones, Aaron Stanford, Jenna Ortega, Lolita Davidovich, and some other people. But yeah, that's enough, right? It's got Clayne Crawford, who I don't know if anybody remembers the Lethal Weapon thing, and he was the one that was difficult to work with, and ended up separating from Lethal Weapon, and well, he's still working. So, in case there were any fans of the Lethal Weapon TV series, he found his way into this movie, so he's in this. Yeah, it's a film about fishing. It's a film about two brothers, Ben Foster and another brother played by, I believe his name is Toby Wallace. I'm less familiar with his work, but they're sort of brothers. And I think they're like half brothers or something. And they... Ben Foster plays Tom, who he's already made the decision. He's gonna fish. That's his lot in life. And Charlie was accepted into law school, but he doesn't want to go. He wants to be out on the water. And that's something his parents just can't figure out. Why do you want to do this? The film starts at the beginning with Charlie just sort of getting his first day on the job. That's a good way to start things, with the first day on the job routine, and so he's jumping on board, learning about, how to throw up over the side of the boat, and what to name the bathroom. That is, there is a very strict way in which to refer to the bathroom that he has to clean, because he's the newbie. And so he also gets a haircut. Lots of things happen on his first. It's a very busy first day. There's also a ship that sinks. That's tied to a major, like a corporation fishing company, whatever. And they go through, I guess, a similar sort of storm situation, but they make it out. And obviously, because otherwise this film is going to be just the perfect storm, which it's not. The film turns out to be more like characters in debt. How do we make money? How can we make money in a different way? Our boat's been impounded, blah, blah, blah. And they go on the thing where they end up having to take more risks, high risk, high reward type stuff. Puts them in weird positions, and yeah, the film plays out like that. It's a weird, it is a fishing drama. It's a family drama more than anything else. Maybe even like a crime drama. It's got kind of everything rolled up into it. Brian Helgeland is trying to do a lot here. It kind of is the thing that bogs the film down. It doesn't really know what it wants to be. It just kind of is everything. It's a little bit of everything. And it just doesn't fully end up landing any of it. It's not really a fishing movie. It's not really a family movie. And it's not really a crime movie. It's some amalgamation of everything. And the cast is kind of all over the place. Jenna Ortega is here. I don't think she does anything for this film. And I think this is such a weird casting for her. I like Jenna Ortega, but this is just not her film. She plays Mabel, who is like like a bartender that Charlie meets and falls in love with, who gets wrapped up in this stuff. And it's interesting how they kind of throw her into the story. Kind of feels like we just wrap this story, feels like women are just pulled into it, but this film is finding a way to include women. It's a man's story, you know. uh and they don't know how to put women into it, so like Lolita Davidich, she just kind of shows up too. She's just like, hey, I'm here, what's up? Not literally, but it just kind of feels awkward when they're there, because they're just kind of, they feel more like they're background and not full out characters. Jenna by far has the most to do of any female in the film, and it's nothing wonderful. It's I guess she was excited to be cast outside of the horror franchise, like horror genre, but I don't know. Ben Foster, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 living actors who is most deserving of an Oscar nomination already. He has already proven himself multiple times. He's a little like Paul Dano in that he's been in many positions where he's been right up next to somebody where he should have also gotten a nomination, and then he doesn't, and then the other person does. He was in The Messenger with Woody Harrelson, where Woody Harrelson ended up getting a nomination and not Ben Foster. He was also in Hell or High Water, where he could have easily gotten that supporting actor nomination, but we went with only Jeff Bridges that year, even though Ben Foster was electric in Hell or High Water. Just such an amazing performance. He's also been really terrific on his own in many other things, but he also has the Paul Dano effect of being so close to a nomination several times, where you feel like, I mean, Dano, in case you don't understand what I'm talking about, has There Will Be Blood, and where he's right up against Daniel Day-Lewis, and they end up picking just Daniel Day-Lewis and not Paul Dano. Obviously, The Fabelmans would be another example, especially considering Williams and Judd Hirsch both got nominations, and then not Dano. So there are many situations where he's been right in there. Although personally, I'd rather see Ben Foster get the. I just like Ben Foster more. I think what he does is incredibly interesting. So I love Paul Dano too, though. Both of them, I'm just waiting to see them get nominations. But this film is not going to do anything for anybody. I mean, it was interesting to see Brian Helgeland and what he's up to, but this doesn't have this doesn't have the punch that LA Confidential had. It doesn't feel like that. And it doesn't even have the style of direction that he brought to A Knight's Tale. It doesn't feel like there's the roar. It just kind of feels like any movie that you could possibly see about this situation. Nothing special. It's not bad. It just doesn't do anything. It doesn't really go anywhere. It's just very average. It's a very average film. I kind of understand why it wound up on Paramount Plus, although there's such a pedigree here that I'm pointing it out because I think, for some other people, they may like this. So there's a pedigree here to roll the dice on, whereas with a lot of straight-to-streaming films, there isn't. Or they are stars that have fallen off the radar and aren't working. I don't think anybody would say that about people like Jenna Ortega or Tommy Lee Jones, who was just in The Burial. So there are stars here that have not fallen off. Ben Foster is sadly has taken a couple things that I wish he hadn't taken. Just kind of why I want him to get an Oscar nomination, so he can just continue to take good projects instead of just things that pay the bill. He's starting to get a little like Nicolas Cage, where it's like some of his work is exceptional and some of his work is straight to video stuff. But Anyway, this is it is it's funny because this film could also be titled "Fuck You." You'll learn that in the in the film. Um, there's a really sort of oddly forced, after we hit the title card, conversation about what finest kind means. Like, what does it mean? And we learn what finest kind means, and that's why I'm saying technically the title of the film could be "Fuck You." So, but that was a fun scene. It felt really forced though, right at the time. It felt like Brian Helgeland was like, let's just go ahead and clear this out of the way. This is why I named the movie. This is why the boat is named Finest Kind. We're gonna talk about it right away. We're just gonna dive right in. I was kind of like, It does not feel like a natural conversation. This feels like a conversation you're having for the audience. So yeah, it's funny because as a blind film critic, our screen readers are not telling us the name of this movie. It's spelled as one word. So it's, if you have a screen reader, likely your screen reader is saying Finestkind, because it can't process that what he wants you to say is finest kind, but they say it in the movie, and they also say it in the audio description when the title pops up on screen. So it is finest kind as one word. So I know that's weird, and our screen readers have no idea how to handle this, but that's what it is. Speaking of the audio description, I thought it was fine. There's a decent amount of characters here. I really enjoyed Aaron Stanford's character. It's been a long time since I've seen Aaron Stanford. I feel like he's somebody I had high hopes for early on in his career, back when he was the original Pyro in X-Men, and when he dropped in X2, but he did an independent film called Tadpole, which was the first thing I believe I actually saw him in, and just fantastic work. And I was like, oh, this kid's gonna go far. His career's been all right. He had a couple series where he was the lead. One was called Traveler, which was on ABC, and then he was also the lead of Sci-Fi Channel's 12 Monkeys, which I believe ran for 2 seasons. I think it was a 2-season show. So it's not that he hasn't had a career. It's just I definitely wanted more for him. So it's funny to have him and Ben Foster both in the same film, two people who I want so much for, and would personally put like give them awards for past performances. But yeah, this is not the film I would give them the award for. So sadly. Audio description, yeah, it's fine. It actually helped because I figured out what the name of the film was right away. I was like, oh, it's Finest Kind. Oh, I was like, what the hell is Finest Kind? What is this? I thought it was going to be like some Swedish movie. You know what I'm saying? I was like, is Brian Helgeland? What is this movie? What are we doing here? Because I didn't read the plot summary. I noticed it was directed by Brian Helgeland, and that was about it. I stopped there. So yeah, it's it's something that I sort of recommend. If you, depending on how many other movies you've seen, if you're kind of like looking for something to watch, I would say take a chance on this. It's not great. It might be great for you, depending on how you process films. It's certainly got people to be interested in, and but I'm kind of neutral on this. He didn't direct a bad movie, but he didn't direct a good movie either. So I'm going to give Finest Kind a C. Anyway, that's it for me today on Finest Kind. Thanks for watching. Please click that subscribe button. I am trying to break 200 this year. I really want to be above 200 before next year. I'm so close. I'm so close. Anyway, I also have a website, backmovieguy.com. You can follow me on X, Threads, and Instagram. I'm Mac the Movie Guy. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know what has audio description and where you can watch it. And you can go to the ADNA.org. That's the ADNA.org. It'll let you know who's narrating your favorite films and television series. Anyway, that's it. I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.